Anyway, let's start the show. Let's go. I've got plenty of talking points. Let's roll.
All right, cool. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another episode. Maybe just a quick wellness check. How you doing, Phil?
I'm better. I'm still not 100% down. I'm still not 100% not going to lie to the people. Shout out to all the people that have been sending positive vibes, positive wishes. If you guys would be so kind as to, actually send the well wishes, which is the Dubai chocolate. I've clearly stated in the group, and just for the general audience, if you want me to feel better, send Dubai chocolate.
So two quick things, right? The first thing, Phil often makes reference on this podcast to, shout out to the listeners who hit me up and who whatever. Y'all don't hit me up, is what I'm saying. Sometimes I come in here and I express my own pain.
If you check the website, sometimes they actually leave comments on the website. That's why I get them. So you see a comment on the post on the website. It'll be there.
I don't understand.
Sometimes they'll just message us on WhatsApp.
It feels like favoritism.
I don't know. Maybe you're not approachable on WhatsApp because they've got our numbers. Our patrons have our phone numbers.
Like favoritism is what I'm saying. And if y'all decide that Phil is your favorite, it's okay. I just want y'all to say with your chest. It's like sometimes I also need, kamaka kakusimbisa, like, a little bit of dapping up, strengthening, encouragement. We on your side, Dan. Don't worry about it. We know Zim's rough. We know you had to import someone all the way from South Africa, and this is a lot of pressure on you. Sometimes even just a little bit of a word of encouragement. I'm a self-sufficient man, but even I need, like, anyway, I catch it. It's just, on a regular basis, Phil makes reference to people who are showing him support, and I'm just noticing. Not complaining, I'm noticing. Hashtag noticing. Firstly, the second thing I was going to say is when I passed through Dubai, we posted my wife posted a video of us trying out this Dubai chocolate, right? Then I posted it. Then several people hit me up in the DMs and said, yo, please bring me one. I was like, all right, cool. I think there were 4 requests. These people don't know how much that chocolate was, but it's okay.
No, they don't. They don't.
I said, you asked for it. And depending on the relationship we have, I was like, all right, cool. You know what? I'm going to bring you a Dubai chocolate. Expensive, but I brought it and I've delivered all the Dubai chocolates that I promised that I was going to give. Only one person posted on their social media and said, yo, trying out this Dubai chocolate. Shout out to Danny for bringing it. Big up Anesu, the dentist. Apart from him, the rest of y'all, it's okay. I understand. You saw someone trying it out in Dubai and you said, please bring me one. And I was in a good mood. I was going on holiday. I was like, cool. I'll bring it for you. Don't worry. So I felt an obligation when I was coming back. I was like, you know what? I got to buy 4 Dubai chocolates for the people that requested.
You're making money like that? So actually, I found the Dubai chocolate. I found an outlet. Fine. I'll give them a shout out. Not necessarily because they're paying, but just, we'll see how many people go there. If you go there, drop my name. Let me see if they.
What do you mean? Not necessarily. What?
There's places where I get when I don't get coffee pods in South Africa, I get them in Zim. Obviously, Harry's is very expensive. It's because it's like between $12 and $16 for a pack. Then there's a place that's got the knockoff Woolworths Nespresso pods, which was $6. Now they've gone up. Sometimes I can even get them for $4, depending, the state. Because sometimes I'll go, look, the box is bent. This is a reject. Give me a discount. So it's a shop called Kangaroo Pouch at Highland Park. I was in there the other day getting my pods. To my surprise, what do I see, Dan? I see the Dubai chocolate. The famous Dubai chocolate, the chocolate that I just had, that I'm like, yo, this chocolate bangs. And I'm like, I bet. So they've got the boxes. It's a box of 4, box of 8, box of 10. I point to the box of 4. And I'm like, hey, guys, out of interest, how much is the chocolate? And they respond, $30. I'm like, okay, that's a good price. That's a decent price. In my mind, I'm like, the 4 chocolates equals $30. No, Dan, I was incorrect. 1 bar is $30.
You know what? They are only making about $5 profit, assuming it's the same, from the Dubai duty free.
No, they're making 100% because in the Dubai duty free, even when you calculate for the dirhams, it's $13. It's $13.
That's not the one I bought. That thing was 20.
The one, I think the one you got, because the one you got, if I remember from the video, yours was like camel milk or something. Yeah. So that's a different special kind. There's this one that's really gone viral on TikTok, and I've seen the reviews. It's called Starts with an F. I'll look up the box just now. That brand, you can only get it on an app between 2 and 5 p.m. every day, or you've got to catch them at the duty-free shop before they close. That's the $13 a chocolate bar brand, and it's now $30. And they're like, fam, these things are selling like hotcakes. Some baddie came in and she bought the 10-pack yesterday. That means some baddie went to Diddy and was like, yo, can I have $300 to go buy chocolate? And Diddy was like, whatever you want, my love. And she went and she bought $300 worth of chocolate. She bought someone's rent in chocolate. So all we are asking our listeners is, if you would like to do that, I'm not asking for 4 or 5 or 6, just one bar, you know? If you're in Dubai or know someone in the Middle East, even better. It's not that expensive. If not, then just, you know, just chip in. Because we've graduated. And shout out to all the listeners who used to do this and still do this. Whenever they come to Zim, they give me Skittles, or they used to get Dan M&Ms. That was nice.
That was cool. Once. That happened once.
But our tastes have evolved. You know, we've moved up in the world. We want the Dubai chocolate. Okay.
I just want words of affirmation. The ones that you're currently giving to Phil, I also want. Anyway, shall we start the show, Phil? We need to have good energy in the vibes in here. So I have to ask, are y'all
good to go?
Huh? Are y'all
good to go?
Hey.
Sound of it, sing them. Get mad now.
Let me hear a drum play.
Welcome to another episode of your favorite podcast. This is Two Broke Twimbos. My name is Danny That Guy, aka Denos the Mad Titan, aka Denford Wick Marani, aka Denimbi, my life for entertainment, aka I'm done with these streets. Don't ever let me write a letter to David Coulthard about the cricket and his racism, because your things will backfire real quick. Aka Akuna Mumenti Danmu.
Oh, okay. You need to give me an update on that story, but he's here with the unmistakable, the irrefutable, the unquestionable, the undeniable. The send me the chocolate buffalo chat, aka Flint Floss, the big boss, baby, get feeds up here, 600 over, get filthy Phil, DJ Mukara D, but I won't stay silent on Palestine. And of course, Shama, did take a drink. What it do, what it is, what's up? Hi guys, welcome back. Happy heroes.
And welcome back to work.
So I think let's start on the heroes tip.
Hold on, let me just. I was super specific in my introduction because I just wanted to make a quick mention about sim cricket. Now, first of all, I'm not super clued in and plugged in, so I recognize that I might miss a lot of context and nuance. But bear with me; it's been quite hilarious to watch the cricket situation in Zim. So recently, Zimbabwe has been playing some of the best cricket countries in the world. The most recent was 3 series, I believe. Test, or rather a test series against New Zealand, and we had the third highest test defeat of all time. It was really bad.
What is the score? Did you have to follow on? Was it that bad?
So it was New Zealand got 576 for 6 declared, and then Zimbabwe bowled out for 100. That was the first.
So
innings.
Then we had to follow on, I'm sure. So then we had to come in for our second innings immediately, I'm sure, after that.
Yeah, and then it was 117 all out. That was Zimbabwe. 117 all out, and then I'm trying to see what did.
So we were defeated by an innings and damn near 200 runs.
It's actually quite embarrassing. So look, a lot of people were very vocal, and some people were defending it, saying, "Listen, for Zim to get better, we have to play the best countries in the world, and we're very far away from the New Zealands and Australias and Englands and Indias of this world. So we have to play them, and we're gonna lose." But some people are also saying, like, come on, like this is just really bad, and it's led to a lot of conversation about Zim cricket. Now, again, I want to be clear: I don't know all the background and all the nuance and all the everything that's going on. But one of the most vocal people about Zim cricket and the alleged rot, shall we say, that exists within the entire Zim cricket is Mayor of Bulawayo, David Coulthard. Now, David Coulthard has his own issues aside, but I think many people in general seemed to agree with his points about how Zim cricket is not being run very well. Anyway, Zim cricket then put out an official statement. I read it earlier today. It's insane. Just look for any of Zim cricket's platforms and read this. They basically say, they basically claim that David Coulthard is racist, and that's why he's calling out Zim cricket.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone was like, okay, whoa. The racism might be a different conversation, but I mean, come on, guys, come on. And just watching the back and forth has been hilarious. Just how bad. It sort of mixed in this whole story is, I don't know if you saw former Zimbabwean cricketer Sean Irvine announced that he was moving back to Zimbabwe with his family.
Coming home.
Yeah, so there's just a lot of conversation about cricket that's happened in the past week. And as someone who doesn't really regularly watch cricket, I don't know, I was kind of intrigued at seeing some of all these stories. I'm sure one of our listeners, in fact, I'm sure there's people in the Patreon group who are very, very clued in, and we're going to get updates now that this has been mentioned. Hey guys, if you're in the Patreon group, just give us the context and the detail, and so that we understand the full story. But I just thought I'd mention it in the intro just so we could acknowledge the fun and games that have been going on over the past couple of weeks. But anyway, Phil,
nice.
You were saying, yes, the Heroes Weekend.
So yeah, Heroes Weekend, for obviously feeling very patriotic, we had a nice long weekend. One of the catch-22s of being an entrepreneur is a long weekend doesn't mean anything. Except
if anything, it's actually an annoyance.
Yeah, you can turn off your phone without feeling guilty because, you got a reason. But if you also have international clients, we're granted they're not paying right now, but that's neither here nor there. So anyway, I had a meeting Wednesday morning. So this was the first time I've left the house in quite some time, been recovering and so forth. And I had to pass through town and then on my way to Bardale. It's the morning. There's a bit of morning traffic, hectic. I'm driving up 6th Street towards State House. And to my surprise and chagrin, I'm looking in the distance there and I'm like, is that a car on the grass? State House? No, surely not. As the light goes green and I inch further, I'm like, oh snap, it is a car. And immediately there's a well of schadenfreude. Because as anyone in Africa will understand, it's a kombi has ridden up the curb and hit into the wall, the newly reconstructed wall at Zimbabwe State House. And it's a nice feeling to see a kombi in a bad situation because kombis never make driving fun in Zimbabwe or in Africa in general. So it was good to see them in a bit of a spot of bother because there are few places in life you want to have a mishap with a vehicle. And that would be one of them. And I'm also trying to be incognito because I want to capture this moment, but I'm like, you know what? I don't get my ass beat. I don't want to, get in trouble.
Imagine being like collateral damage. It wasn't even you, but because you wanted to get that content.
Oh, and there was collateral damage. So I'm getting closer because obviously, the traffic is moving slowly. I'm counting at least 10 soldiers. And I'm not exaggerating. I counted 10 soldiers at least from what I could see. And there were more behind the kombi. Long story short, there is an intersection where the State House is. The State House is on both sides of the road. If you're going into town, on the left side is where delegates and guests normally stay. On the right side is where the president would normally stay. But both of these are considered part of State House. For reasons, I'm assuming because this person tried to jump someone, their brakes failed. I really don't know what they were trying to do. They hopped the curb, not only hopped the curb, got onto the lawn, but hit into the wall. Mm-hmm. Big faux pas, big no-no. Soldiers are surrounding the vehicle. There's now multiple police officers surrounding the vehicle. The driver, I don't even know where he is right now. And I'm sure his family still don't know where this person is 2 days later.
I mean, we laugh about it, but that's not cool also. But okay,
Yeah.
Here's my problem with this schadenfreude. I feel like if it was just the driver.
This is what I was getting to. Because now as I drive by, keep in mind, right, I'm saying this is the morning. So a lot of these people, they have no choice. They're catching public transport because that's the only option available to them. And they're trying to get to work, get to the bank, just do their errands. All of them are sitting on the floor now. This is a cold winter morning, by the way, in their clothes. They are forced to sit on the lawn, and I see someone in a suit with a book taking their details.
Gosh.
So now you're an innocent bystander. You picked the wrong kombi on the wrong day. You're trying to get to work. You're trying to get into town. The kombi hit the wall. That's when I was like, damn. And when I realized this was the crazy news is, so I have the meeting. First thing I do is I go to my barber. My barber is at Bardale. While I'm getting my haircut, I hear people talking about the accident. And I'm like, yeah, I just drove by it and I showed them the video. Oh my God. But by the time I was done there, I think the whole country knew about this thing. This was, it was bad.
It's funny because it's one of those things that it's just known. You don't do that by State House. You don't. Oh yeah. You just don't do that by State House. So I feel for that kombi and all. But did I ever tell the story on this podcast of what happened to me?
I feel like as of late, and I'm not trying to be controversial here. I feel people have been getting a little lax with the way they would move around status, because back in the day there was a certain level of fear and reverence at status. And what I mean is, it has become very commonplace for people to run red lights, creep on the amber, especially on State House. If you're on Tongogara and you want to turn right, normally you have to be in the extreme right lane to turn right. Over the years, I've started to see people turn that into a 2-lane turning lane all of a sudden. Sometimes people sneak, they sneak a quick left turn through a red or yellow light. And I'm like, it feels like people don't respect State House the way they used to respect State House. I think for the next week or two, that might return to, like, you know what I mean? A little order might return.
You see, no, come on. Come on, man. Anyway, it's okay. Look, Phil, let's actually get into the pod. We're going to start off by celebrating some Zimbabweans doing big things. So first of all, want to give a big shout out to a Zimbabwean filmmaker Naishe Nyamubaya, who secured a major grant at the prestigious Locarno Film Festival in Switzerland. We found that out actually 2 days ago. There's something that's called the Open Doors program that's part of this festival, and Nyamubaya's upcoming feature film Black Snake won the top prize and won the biggest, or rather the largest grant. That's 25,000 Swiss francs, which I can tell you as someone who's spent a week and a half, 2 weeks in Switzerland, amounts to roughly 1.5 days living. But yeah, still congratulations on the grant, and it means that people all over the world are recognizing your filmmaking talent. So we look forward to seeing Black Snake coming out, thanks to this grant money that's come out. Secondly, want to give a shout out again to Zimbabwean athletics phenom Tapiwa Nashe Makarau, who again this week was in action, this time in Budapest, Hungary, at the Gyulai István Memorial. A World Athletics Continental Tour out in Budapest. Didn't make it to a podium, but made it to 4th in the 200 meters, the men's 200 meters. So representing. Shout out to Makarau, man. One of the fastest people in the world. It's dope to see. And congratulations. Continuing to do big things. Again, this happened a couple of days ago at the Budapest Gyulai István Memorial. Cool. What you want to talk about, Phil? I believe last week, did we have much feedback? I don't recall any major feedback, not even in the group. Did people talk about our episode last week in the group? You see, I didn't prepare this part. I don't think so.
It's cool. I mean, yeah, there was a bit of feedback to our takes on Emtee Finance. I know some people have been less forgiving, and I totally understand with that. Some people don't really see what the big deal is.
Our takes on?
I think some people felt we were a bit soft on Fantano and his wordings.
Oh, yeah. Okay, no. Okay. I think... Did you want to... I know you have it as a follow-up thing. Is that something that you want us to get into a little bit later, or...
I mean, we can, if you've got more to add, I genuinely feel that in this world, it's really difficult, especially with topics such as racism, prejudice, etc. It's for some people it's it's emotional rightling rod, as they say, and I don't want to take that away from people. Like, some people are genuinely upset, more upset than I am, and I don't want to take that away from you. Like, if you feel that way, I understand and I respect it, especially Black Americans. I've got a few Black American people that I spoke to. I don't think they listen to the podcast, but I definitely spoke to them about it, and they were like, "Yeah, F that dude. Like, this is unacceptable." And I was like, you know what? Considering everything you guys have been through, I understand. And actually, I do have a tie into this. And on the flip side, I also have people that are more forgiving, especially in this climate. And I get both sides of it. I think if you choose to remain angry at him, I don't blame you. If you choose to forgive him, I don't blame you. If you choose to be skeptical, I don't blame you. Like, I see all sides. I don't believe I have the right, absolute, truthful opinion. And at the same time, we've got a little something close to home.
Let me just also give my quick feedback on that. I think I stand by what I said, which is, if you are genuinely upset, you have every right to be. Cool. If you're genuinely hurt, dope. I just question the majority of people who were speaking as to whether they were genuinely upset. I know some were. And I agree with Phil. I don't want to take anything away from you. You have every right to be upset based on your experience in your life and your history. But I bet you that a large number of people who are talking on this issue weren't actually upset. They are just trying to virtue signal. And I think that's kind of what I want to I kind of want to call out this whole culture of trying to position yourself in the public eye as someone who's so righteous and out here to call out the mess ups that other people make. That's not what everyone is doing. And I won't position myself as someone who can tell if one is or one isn't. But the feeling I have is that there are many people who are doing that. So that's kind of like the whole point that I was kind of making. And the Fantano one to me kind of stood out because I know for a fact that many people who are commenting on this probably don't really care about dude. So if it was just a throwaway comment that, oh yeah, racist dude, I'm not even mad at you. But for those who seemed to make it like a personal mission to paint just how evil this man is because of this clip, but you don't actually watch him and you don't even care about the history. And now I'm like, I'm questioning. But you're also entitled to feel what you feel. I just question whether it's true or not. But anyway, you were saying something closer to home.
Closer to home, I think we also discussed it last. Oh, did we discuss it last week? In fact, we did. Sorry, actually, we did about that podcast that said those horrible things about the colored people.
Yes,
one of the outspoken individuals was the Minister of Arts and Culture, Gayton McKenzie, who says like, "There's no space, there's no place for racism."
Gayton's been trending this week, eh?
And then people started bringing out tweets of him being racist. So for those that don't know, Gayton McKenzie is a colored man. His mother is Basotho, but his father is colored. And as per the rules of South Africa, and I think even in Zimbabwe, you are now classified as a colored person, or as they say in Zimbabwe, a 00. And he was using the K word very loosely, saying a lot of racial things about the black people. He was essentially being the South African Uncle Ruckus, to a T. And these tweets kept they kept finding tweets, bruh. It's like those TikToks where like they're going to an apartment or a house that's got into a state of disrepair because of a hoarder, and everywhere they turn, they just start picking up trinkets or coins or dirt or thing. And like, again, there's more dirt under the cushion. There's more dirt under the mattress. The tweets kept coming, and Gayton tried his best. Granted, his best isn't great. But he tried his best to excuse it and be like, guys, I can't be racist. My best friends are black. My mother's black. I can't be racist.
Yeah. Look, I don't like to wade too far into politics for many obvious reasons, but I remember when there were a lot of people who were championing that man's cause. And I was like, oh, really? Okay, cool. No doubt.
That is the wild part. Is I don't understand why. Why would you do such a thing?
He pandered to a lot of populist ideals very quickly. So I think he quickly picked up what people wanted to hear. I don't remember all the intricacies of how it happened, but long story short, here we are. And I don't know if any lessons have been learned. I don't think so. I think we're going to see many such cases in the near future of people who just jump onto bandwagons and then regret it later. We can see it happening in America. It's happening here with the whole Gayton story. I saw several people saying like, yo, I supported Gayton, but yo, yeah, it's a lot. What did you see? Did you see the Open Chat's apology?
The release from the lawyer.
Yeah, well, yes.
Yes, I did.
What did you think of it? Just PR doesn't really matter.
Dude, just PR. I don't.
Yeah. What were you about to say?
I
Sorry.
don't know. I was about to say the thing that that baffles me, and it really has caused me to really rethink shame, because I have been falling behind on a lot of projects, and people have relied on me, and people have trusted me. And you know, Dad, I actually feel shame. I feel bad. I feel horrible. But I'm like, yo, I had to come to the realization, like, yo, I can't do this until I'm back at 100%. So until I'm 100%, these things I genuinely can't stop. I can't fix these things. Yes, I feel shame. Yes, I feel embarrassed. I need to maintain my reputation. I need to protect my brand or all the hard work I've put in.
I feel shame. What are you feeling shame about?
I feel shame because there's projects I need to deliver on that I'm behind on.
Okay.
There's people that have entrusted me to do something and I've been failing to do so for reasons sometimes in my control, sometimes reasons beyond my control. But I feel shame. I feel bad.
Okay. I understand. Mm-hmm.
And then I look across some of the and I see a lot of people move with zero shame, zero accountability, and they seem to be doing just fine. Gayton has no accountability, no shame, and he does just fine. Here's a fact, and people, this is not, I can say this and it's not a crime because it's true. Gayton McKenzie is a criminal, a multiple time criminal. So much so, he needed a presidential pardon just to no longer be a criminal. That's how much of a criminal he was. And this is the man people chose to represent their interests. He's a scam artist, guys. Gayton's biggest defender is another criminal / rich man. I don't know if you've read the story. Have you been following like the Jerome Mkwanazi story that's going on in South Africa then?
Loosely, yeah.
Oh, did you read the story of there's a person that he implicated and then the police started investigating this person. Then the police went to raid an individual's house. And when they raided this person's house, Kenny Kunene was at the house of the criminal. And then Kenny
I saw that
Kenny,
story somewhere. Yeah.
Kenny, you're also in government now. You're part of the Ministry of Transport. What are you doing here? And Kenny was like, yo, you see what had happened is I am restarting my newspaper. Okay, listen, guys, follow me. So I'm restarting my newspaper and I've got these kids, the youthies that are starting the newspaper. So they needed me, even though I'm now a member of parliament, I'm in government, they needed me to bring them to this person's house so that they could conduct the interview. But I'm not involved in the criminal. If anything, I am here for in the interest of journalism and bringing truth to power. And people were like, what? So Uber doesn't exist anymore. Like you as busy and as rich as you are, you picked up these people from their house and you dropped them. So it's a lift club. You know, like when the kids are like, Mom, can I go to Dan's house? And then your mom has to drop you off at Dan's house. And then while me and you are playing in the garden, our moms are having tea and like, oh, look at them having fun over there. Anyway, Phil, it's now you've had your fun. It's time to go home. That's what you want us to believe. That's the same person.
I don't know, Phil. I don't know. This is why we steer far from politics. You know why?
Do you know? I know why, and it makes sense. And I've stumbled on a great idea, Dan. Listen, guys, we need to find a sister podcasts across the continent. We can't speak on local stuff for obvious reasons. We can kind of speak on not local stuff. We just need an exchange where the South African podcast will send us stuff or send the Kenyan stuff to thing. The Kenyan podcast sends us or the South African, you know what I mean? And then we just speak on each other's guans. Therefore, there's plausible deniability for all parties. What do you think? That makes sense, right?
I'm not so worried about plausible deniability. I'm worried about, okay. I have a very cynical view of world affairs. Even the wrong are really wrong and the right are also wrong. I would rather take a step back and just try to figure out life for me and mine's. If you guys need water on the way to the revolution, please pass through my place. I'll give you water. But I'm not going with you.
Wow. Look at this pacifist over here.
I'm feeling very cynical and I'm not, yeah. So anyway, let's move on from that, Phil. Let's move on from that. Let's, something else to do a quick follow-up on is last week we spoke about the Hermione Granger of Zimbabwe. Side note, me finding out that it was pronounced Hermione was a canon event in my life.
That is actually a fascinating thing. Speaking of the book club, we'll come back to it. But it's always weird, like when you read a book and you read a name and it said something in your head, and then you hear someone else say it out loud and you're like, wait, what?
that was exactly one of those things.
It's like a facade. It's like facade, like learning what facade is. And you're like, huh?
So last week we spoke about socialite Natalie Mandu, also known as Enchantress, who went to court over allegations of practicing witchcraft. We had a whole conversation about it. It's a story that, shall we say, enchanted the nation. Well, apparently her case hasn't been taken very seriously.
Shock, surprise, and horror.
So it's just not going to continue. From what we saw in the news, basically it was thrown out.
It's almost like it was there for a distraction.
Anyway, let's talk about some other things. Phil, what would you like to talk about? I know something that our patrons asked us to talk about as the tech ombudsman. But maybe before we get to the tech, let's see, there's some music news. I don't like this format that you've put all these topics in here. I have to read too much for me before I fully understand what the story is.
I'm removing a lot of these, I think.
Okay. What's the story about Tyla? There's a whole story about Tyla that's going on.
So Tyla just dropped a new EP.
Yes.
With the song, cause I wanna get me. And the Billboard numbers came in and it looked like she moved about 3,000 units in the first week, which then sparked a bit of discussion online because not all, the majority of Black Americans who have a bone to pick with Tyla for reasons beyond her control. And we've discussed on this podcast before about her bringing up that she's colored and what colored means to a Southern African versus what colored means to an American. They still hold that against her, which is a bit strange. I do think she could have handled the PR around it a little better, but I mean, what's done is done. It is what it is. And their whole thing was, this is why, because she disrespected us, so we're not going to listen to her music.
Is that true, or is this a narrative that people are giving afterwards to prove something? Did people literally boycott her and say, I'm not listening to her music because of this? Or are people saying afterwards, after the fact, well, the reason we didn't listen to her music is because of da-da-da-da?
I think two things can be true. I do also think there's a combination of a lot of factors, one being that. I think another thing is breaking into the US market is incredibly expensive and requires an incredible amount of sustainability. Mm-hmm. So one thing that people haven't really touched on or are ignoring here is there's a few concerts, festival appearances that Tyla canceled. There were sometimes some of those reasons were listed as health issues. Some of them were listed as conflict issues, but she had to cancel some material, some appearances, some tour dates. We don't really know why, and I'm not going to elaborate further on that. But it hasn't necessarily been all the smooth sailing since the Grammy win and going number one. And going number one is expensive. It's costly. She's crossing over. She's trying to appeal. At the same time, she's kind of dealing with a couple of headwinds. So you've got the Americans who've had it out for her. You've got people like Joe Budden, who for some reason has a bean as bonnet for Tyla, and has always had a bean bonnet for Tyla, even before she said the color thing. You've got Arya Star fans who don't seem to like her, and there's always these weird comparisons between Arya Star and Tyla, who's copying who fashion-wise, who's copying who style-wise, who was here first, which I don't think that they believe, because there's been videos and content of them together, and that's happening on as well. And then you've just got the difficulty of sustaining this cross-continental appeal. And I think it's coming to a head. And she was also trying to test waters. I think that's why they dropped an EP. An EP isn't to spend the bag on. An EP is to see, okay, we've got a new level of brand notoriety, brand visibility. Let's figure out who our real fans are. That's what I would think anyway. So let's drop an EP so we can figure out who our real fans are and who was just here because we spent or we invested so much in this product. Now they've got an understanding, they'll move forward accordingly. I think it's a bit of a storm in a teacup, because if we look at some of the first week numbers for a lot of acts across the board, even acts bigger than her, this isn't a disaster. It's not a great number, but it's also not a disaster.
Is it? So, okay, I didn't dig into this. I'm quickly Googling it now. But the thing that was going around was that Tyla's EP sold 3,700 units in the US in its first week of sales. Is that a true number? Is that an accurate number? Because, okay, here's what a quick Google has revealed to me. This number is about actual literal EP sales as opposed to streams. Whereas typically we normally count how many streams equate to what would count as a complete sale of an album or whatever the case is. In this case,
which is a terrible metric. Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. I'm questioning that number, because at the same time, doing a quick Google, a lot of the songs that are on this EP are currently still on the charts. They're like, I think she's apparently the only African artist who's got 5 songs on the charts or whatever the case. I don't know what the story is.
Which chart though?
On the Billboard charts. I don't know which one specifically. I didn't. Let me do a quick Google again.
Yeah, because that matters. But also, like, it doesn't take much for you to get on like the Hot 100. It really over indexed for radio plugging. So if you got radio plugging, you're gonna be
okay
there. And
I've got a little bit of a clarification here. This is coming through from some important person, Innocent Shezi. I don't know who that is. I'm trying to scroll up to find what it says. But anyway, it says here, recent reaction to Tyla's alleged 3,700 first week EP sales prove just how misunderstood the modern music economy is. People are quick to label it a failure, but they ignore the real story. What about her streams? Tyla is charting on Billboard, racking up millions of global streams, going viral across continents, representing South Africa at the highest level. This can't be reduced to one sales figure, which is what I thought when I first saw it.
But
I thought
I hate to be a thing, but that is a terrible explanation. That's very generic.
Of course,
that means nothing.
But
that's just a lot of word salad.
Let me tell you what. It is word salad, but I'll tell you the one thing that I picked up from this. When I read that tweet that everyone seemed to reference, which says, and it came from that chart data account, which says Tyla's WWP EP sold 3,700 units in the US in its first week of release. I was like, that is phrased weird, because whenever I've seen this kind of thing come up, it's normally has made the equivalent of this many units. That's how I normally see it phrased. But this one says sold this many units.
Here's the thing, right? So the way Luminate, Billboard calculate these numbers is those streams are tied back to what they can attribute to American streams. So an account that is originated in America, that doesn't account for global streams. So
before you go forward, I know what you're saying, and I'm saying is this referring to streams or actual sales? And I know that
what they do is they do what they call SEA, which is streaming album equivalent.
And normally it would be phrased as that, has sold the equivalent of this many units. I don't often see it say has sold this many units. I've very often seen has sold the equivalent of.
That is also just, once again, the pure word salad that we use. So, for example, if I want to, let me give you a real world example. So Jordan Muzi went number 1 in Botswana, by the way. Shout out to him. Well, there we go. Currently number 1 in Botswana. No time, but Jordan Muzi, you know how we do. Right. If I'm being truthful, my release will say Jordan Muzi goes number 1 in Botswana's radio station Yarona FM.
Mm-hmm.
But that's long-winded, doesn't sound good. What I will say, Jordan Muzi has a number 1 single.
Yes.
So it's true. I've just twisted the facts. That's what a lot of these guys do. So you'll see this a lot when artists release music like, oh, this song is a number 1 album on iTunes in these countries, which in the grand scheme of things means nothing. But it's good for PR. It's good for building brand awareness. It's good for sharing numbers. So as an African artist, as Afrobeats and African music has expanded globally, us looking at the Billboard charts has become more pertinent. Also, because of how Tyla's being positioned, it kind of is more pertinent. But is it the be-all and end-all? No. Because when we look at it, Tyla has racked up millions upon millions of streams off the singles and videos she's already dropped. What we don't know, and that's the thing that makes it difficult for an artist, is we don't know what the break-even point is from the label side. Because the label knows what numbers they need to hit for this to make sense.
Yeah,
if we're strictly looking at this just from a South African standpoint, I was looking at Radio Monitor. Tyla's doing amazing on Radio Monitor in South Africa. Tyla's videos and songs are doing amazing across all streaming platforms. She's without a doubt the biggest South African artist out right now.
Mm-hmm.
Is that enough to justify whatever the label put into a deal? We don't know, and we won't know for some time. And that's the thing. Whether you move 3,000 users on, it's also irrelevant. It's first week numbers. I think Doechii first week did 11,000 on Alligator Bites Never Heal. And look at how it's built over the past year.
Here's this. Listen to this metric. Again, just doing a quick Google. According to this chart something on it says here, Tyla's WWP EP earned 11.9 million streams in its first week of release on Spotify. Is that a lot? 11.9 million? Sounds like a lot.
Nah, not really.
I mean, it's not
for an artist of her caliber. Yeah, it's not amazing.
Is it bad?
So so here, for example, here, right? Tyla is still number 2 on the Billboard Afrobeats charts, but it's for Water. but also number 1 is a song by Shensia, which makes no sense because Shensia is not a
she's
Afrobeat act.
Yeah. Anyway, so I don't care that much about the charts necessarily. There's something about the way this everyone is like. I think normally when we talk about units sold in the first week, we're looking at 100,000, 200,000, whatever it was, right? In those conversations with the Drake conversations that keep happening. So it feels like this screenshot was circulating with the idea of look at how it flopped. And I'm like, I'm not sure if that's because this is still the biggest first week debut by an African in 2025. And I'm wondering how they're counting it, because I know there's album equivalent sales that come from streaming.
Because it fits a narrative. Once again, a lot of conversation online is driven by what is going to move the needle in one way or another, negative or positive.
So anyway, I saw a lot of
so here's
about
the
that.
thing. Like right now, sorry, I just pulled this up. So on the Afrobeats chart, Tyla has 5 songs in the top 5, in the top 10. Sorry, 3 songs in the top 5.
3 songs in the top 5. She's got 4 songs on her EP. So, I mean...
And one of those songs is Water. The other ones are from the new EP.
Yeah.
So, it's much ado about nothing.
I don't get it. She seems to be doing well. I don't understand. she's doing well. And then there's all these think pieces about how America is never going to accept her and whatever. And then I saw, revenge think pieces about, she must go to the white girls because the white girls are the ones that actually consume music. The black girls keep. And I'm just like, what on earth is happening?
This reminds me. I now keep going back to this statement, and I mentioned on this podcast before from DJ Edits. There's too many people who do not participate in the music industry speaking like they understand the music industry. That's the problem. And I am all for. There's been an ongoing suggestion about this, and I'm all for it. Fans should stop quoting numbers because you guys don't have any idea about how to contextualize them. It doesn't benefit. Is the music good or not? Yes or no? Do you like it? Yes or no? That's all that matters. Stop worrying about numbers. That is for the label head, and the accountants. It doesn't have any relevance on you.
I mean, I get like pop fans who are trying to celebrate their fave, doing big numbers and whatever. But like, I also agree, like if you don't understand the context in which these numbers are mentioned, and it's like, what's the point? Especially since the numbers have become so complicated, album equivalents, streaming numbers, multiple platforms. It's just, Anyway, much ado about nothing. While we're in the realm of South African musicians.
Before we move on, I mean, Robert did send in this thing about Joe Budden. I actually haven't seen this. So let's do a live reaction because I haven't seen this clip.
Okay.
So let's see what she said. Breaking news. This is how well researched we are. We do our research while recording.
Is this new or old? First of all,
I think it's new. This week.
And why we think that may be. If I do it, I'm gonna look like a hater. The same with our love bombing topic. So help.
She put out EP, right?
Tyla put out an EP. I wasn't gonna say nothing about it, but Tyla put out an EP and it sold 4,000 copies. Somebody brought to my attention. They think a song on there is a diss record to me, Mr. Media. I bought that EP and came in here and bigged it up.
You did.
Let me see if I can play Mr. Media.
I didn't see anything about it really. Like
no promo. Nothing.
I did see it in my.
I saw that it dropped. Yeah, but that was it. Outside of you playing a record,
it's a strange choice to drop a EP.
You had a smash.
I know, but maybe now somebody can tell the truth about Tyla. Shut up. Maybe now somebody could tell the truth.
And what would the truth be?
Read the room. The truth would be read the room. And that whole, I'm from South Africa and we use colored over there had long-lasting ramifications.
Yes, that does.
Back to being in the people business. Back to my point about Ari and being in the people business.
Okay.
Cool that that's what happened.
We're going back to this. Americans really do think the world revolves around them. It's fascinating.
It is fascinating.
It is fascinating. Also, I don't think he read the lyrics for the song. But anyway.
Okay, what's the story with Emtee? Help me understand. What happened with Emtee?
So Emtee,
I saw screenshots raining in the Patreon group there.
Long story short, Emtee's wife got a hold of his phone. My man's has been wilding.
Say no more.
In the DMs, and she was like, I've had enough. She started exposing the DMs. One of the DMs that was exposed, there's a woman who's got an OnlyFans page, and she was getting, I can't remember why, but she was getting roasted last week on Twitter because she was complaining about like broke men, this, that, and the third, and then people were like, yo fam, like you're 23, but your eyes look 45. Like it looks like you had a tough time. And she was there asking Emtee for 7,000. Then apparently Emtee went over to her house. Like the messages implied that, she was asking for Emtee, and then she was like, come over to my house. And then in the DMs, she was responding to an Instagram story. I don't know which one it was. Insulting Emtee or his manhood or something to that effect. And Emtee called that person a stupid B word. And some people believe that might have been referring to his wife. I don't know, can't confirm that. But what we do know is my man was very overfamiliar with a couple of women's in the DMs, particularly this one who had just gone viral on the social medias for all the wrong reasons. And it's just another example of the dramas. Like, discretion is key. You know, we spoke about this with Shannon Sharp, who, as we discussed, as no longer has a job as ESPN. But discretion is important, guys. You know, discretion is important, especially as a father of three. You know, you've been famous for over a decade now. I would hope you're still not tricking.
Let me paint a picture for you, Phil. Imagine you grew up as that. You're the creative kid. You know what I mean? You're not excelling in sports. You're probably not the most popular person in the school. But you got mad ideas. You make beats in your head. You're banging the desk. You're probably not really paying attention. You're not doing well academically either. You know, there's a lot of resentment that you've probably built up over time, being viewed as the weird kid. Maybe there's baddies that you've looked at and be like, nah, but that one is for me though. She should be with me. Why is she with him? She should be with me. And then you drop a hit song. All of a sudden, those people who turned their back on you, that never used to pay no attention to you, all of a sudden they think you're the coolest thing since sliced bread. I expect that there's going to be a little bit of failure to fully adjust. I don't think it's the correct way to handle it, but I expect that's what's going to happen. And that's what it feels like is happening in this case. For many artists, and not just artists, for people who've, air quotes, made it. It's a funny phenomenon to watch. And I think it might go a long way in explaining some behaviors. That all of a sudden you have access to something that you didn't have before. Maybe you were viewed as corny, but that corniness is now cool because you're a successful artist. And now they in your DMs, or they responding to your DMs. Discretion is out the window. I would highly urge, if you find yourself to be a successful artist, I would recommend that you get yourself a team member. Maybe it's your manager or your PR manager or whatever it is, who will then handle I hate that this is a thing, but every time I've ever dealt with artists and artists' teams, there's always a question, who's organizing the girls? Have you heard that, Phil?
No, never. What?
I think that's an insane thing, but anyway, that seems to be a thing. I would get someone to handle that side of things if you absolutely can't control yourself. And then just as a quick word to the person who discovers the DMs or who picks up the phone and sees what they don't like to see. I know in the moment you're angry and your goal is to embarrass this person as much as possible. But I promise you, it's also embarrassing to you. Put it in the group chat, kick that person to the curb, or work it out, or fight, or argue, or do whatever it is you have to do. The moment you put it out in public, you're damaging yourself as well, yo.
So you say, I get what you're saying, but I think you kind of divorce yourself from the reality of the life of a woman in Africa. So I don't want to, I'm kind of somewhat, I'm trying to think how to put it. So like, I've seen another side of it where, funny enough, I went to school with the wife, right? Like when I was doing my music business certs, she was in the same class as me. And obviously she was there because she was like, this is the family business now. I need to make sure that I understand the contracts my husband is signing.
Mm-hmm. This is Emtee's wife. Sure
yes.
Okay.
And I was also surprised because, let me not share. So the other thing is, I'm not fully convinced that it's the same person because there's other stuff going on behind the scenes. So let me not get into that. However, what I do know, if we are to assume it's the same individual who's the mother of his 3 children that we know of, the wife, is there was also allegations of him beating. There was a live video where his family called him to task for allegedly beating her, and then they started showing photos of her being bruised and battered, and then he turned the camera away. So she may be a victim of domestic abuse. But it's not that easy to leave, because how do you guarantee the livelihood of your children if this man no longer has the legal, quote unquote, legal or societal obligation to look after you if you're not in the same home anymore? That's a real thing. That's a real thing.
I'm with you. How does that justify ruining your own reputation as well?
So, but, and here's the thing that I'm trying to get to. There's no reputation to, it's hard for me to speak on this because I think, and I know we're doing this because of the pod, but none of this, like, let me put it this way. Very few people saw that and were like, oh my gosh, this is shocking.
Yes.
Not the Emtee we know. He would never.
100%. But I mean, okay, I'm talking specifically about that moment, that incendiary moment that you are angry because you've just discovered this man who you actually went to school for and you've been building a business together. And
but here's the thing. We don't even know if that's the inciting incident. It actually might be something else. It might just be like, you know what, I'm just going to embarrass you because you did something else. I already know this. Let me bring, because keep in mind, right? Mm-hmm. For someone to have the time to go through your messages one by one, take screenshots, not only take the screenshots, save them, post them. That is not a quick 5-minute job. That is time.
Mm-hmm.
She might have been building this evidence up for months. He might have been asleep for 8 hours. We don't know. Like, we genuinely don't know how long she has this information. So and she just might be like, you know what, like, let me fix you.
So let's say that's the case. Now you've decided I'm going to fix this man. What I'm going to do is I'm going to release all these files and people are going to know who he really is. I'm saying that in the process of doing that, you've revealed, you've embarrassed yourself as well. Now, my point is, you are angry and you have every right to be angry. But in that moment of anger, even if it's a lot, you building up a case over years, whatever the case is, hey guys, I'm going to reveal how my husband that I'm currently married to has been doing me dirty, and I'm posting it for the public to see. I get why you did it. You were angry. You're trying to embarrass this man. You're trying to punish him. Do you not also see how that punishes yourself? Now, here's where it's going to be even more messed up. Next week, y'all are going to be back together. Now everyone is in your business.
Everyone's been in the business.
So in my mind, do whatever you're going to do, family-wise, in the group chat. Hey, if you're going to be that clever about it, you know what? You could even start using strategic placements in the media. Right? Run that smear campaign strategically through the media. Don't just post.
Dan, how do you run a strategic campaign through the media when you don't have the resources? That requires money. That requires a publicist. That's like, you can't do that for free.
Yes, you can. But
no, you can't.
Let me not pull at this thread too far. My point is, don't do that. Anyway, let's become tech ombudsman for a bit, Phil. Our time is somewhat limited, and then we have some exclusive information to reveal, Phil. So, this was a request that came through from our Patreon group this last week. OpenAI launched ChatGPT 5, the much hyped ChatGPT 5. In fact, some people were saying, what, is ChatGPT 5 going to actually be, AGI, artificial general intelligence? Well, turns out it's not. ChatGPT 5 came out this week and it's good. I mean, I was very impressed. It did some things.
What did it do that really impressed you?
So I was working on a proposal for a major client this past week. Gemini has been my go-to. As you may know, Phil, I have 2 paid AI platforms. One is Gemini, one is ChatGPT. I've mostly been using Gemini because it integrates well with my Google ecosystem and my Gmail and my Google and YouTube and all of that. And it's worked really well. So in the process of making this proposal, I needed to generate some images and I needed to do a bit of research and there was some stuff that I need to put together. There were some images that I had that I needed to be reworked and that I've typically used before. And I know some of the limitations that come with Gemini. When I was using Gemini, I saw some flops and I was like, wait, GPT-5 is out. Let me just see how it does. And the first thing that I wanted to do is I had a very grainy, low res image. So I asked Gemini to upscale the image. Gemini, it tried, but the final result wasn't close to what the initial image was. And I wasn't happy with it. GPT-5 was incredible. It upscaled that image. So it was clear, perfect. And I was like, the prompt was minimal. Then I wanted to generate a dummy logo. So it wasn't a real logo. It was for the purpose of proposal and presentation. So I didn't want to dedicate too many resources to the idea of generating a logo. So I was like, here's a base, generate a logo out of this base. And it was better than what I conceived in my head. So for image generation, GPT-5 blew Gemini out of the water just on those two fronts. I'm sure maybe there's other prompts and whatever that might have helped. But I was like, yo, GPT-5 is like killing it right now. When it came to like general research, I didn't see too much difference between GPT-5 and Gemini, but I will say specifically on the image generation, my mind was blown. I did not necessarily test the like really in-depth, difficult air quotes prompts or trying to find out how intelligent it is. I was not testing it for that. I was literally using it in real life, everyday scenarios. I'm trying to create a document. I need this information. I need this summarized. I need some ideas here that I can pick from and flesh out. I need some images. And for me, GPT-5 was doing a much better job than Gemini. But I've also sort of somewhat followed the conversation around GPT-5. I saw that many people were underwhelmed because of what was promised essentially by Sam Altman when he announced the launch of it.
He announced basically a doctor level of understanding in your pocket, as opposed from a smart high schooler to a doctorate level.
You can
PhD
tell.
level.
You can tell that was low key the marketing pitch in the boardroom. Like, yeah, that's how we must phrase it. You got a PhD in your pocket.
And then people were like, I bet, let's count how many letters there are in blueberry. Or how many B's are in blueberry. Or have you seen like some of the funny gaffes of someone asked them to ChatGPT to redraw the American states and label the states, and it got it so bad. And then they're asking how many states have R in them. It was just a disaster.
I mean, I get that, but I feel like that's also like we remember that. Here's something that I think is generally lacking. I think many people misunderstand, obviously, what these tools are. They're LLMs, which means they're large language models. The T in GPT stands for transformer. So the very architecture used for these models, the transformer model that's used to make these large language models, is essentially a very advanced autocorrect.
I would say not necessarily. A RAG is more to an autocorrect because an autocorrect is it's comparing to an absolute value. There's only one way to spell a word, which is autocorrect, and it's like, no, this doesn't match the way to spell it. I would say LLMs are like they're token generation machines. They're like, it's like a word predictor or a situational predictor.
Yes.
If I am a man and I like ice cream, if I walk past the fridge, I might want some ice cream.
Yeah.
And it'll predict it. And sometimes it's like, yes, of course, I did want ice cream. You're right. And sometimes I don't. And as it infers more information about you or infers more information about the online web or how people behave, it becomes better and better and better, which is why, for example, it didn't know how many fingers humans had because all it did was it scanned images of fingers. And it didn't really understand that those lines at the end of our hands were 5 fingers, and eventually got better and better and better at predicting that and what angles those fingers would take and so forth. So it's that. But yes, continue then.
Yeah, but even in your description, you're using a lot of anthropomorphization.
Yes. I do that to help explain to our listeners. But yes, I don't believe these things to be any form of sentient beings. They're not, because they're not.
Yeah.
It's literally an algorithm and a system used to predict outputs based on an assortment of inputs.
Yes.
And weighted inputs at that.
And so ultimately, that's my point, that I think a lot of people misunderstand them even when they're described as being PhD level intelligence. I get it. That's marketing. Someone is trying to explain what it might be capable of or what it can do, et cetera, et cetera. But ultimately, this is not a thinking, reasoning being, even though those are the words that I use to describe it. Ultimately, what it is a very smart predictor, based on training and based on a context window. It's trained on trillions and trillions of sentences, and it's got a context window to sort of try and predict what the text should be. In fact, it doesn't even use words. It uses tokens, which are not complete words, which is insane. I don't understand how that is the more efficient way to do it. But I mean, we're getting into a lot of in the weeds, and I'm not exactly a software developer or programmer here or whatever. But long story short, it's a very smart text predictor or image, color, line predictor. And I can't even begin to try and understand how it does video. But again, it's trained on billions of hours of video and can predict based on what it's trained on and based on the context window. Understanding that means when you receive GPT-5, you actually get like, wow, this is actually really impressive. Whereas if you think it's a thinking, reasoning being, you might get disappointed because you're like, wait, how come it can't tell how many R's there are in strawberry? I mean, that's not what it does. It predicts the next token based on a context window. I think if they were, and marketing is what it is because of capitalism or whatever, but if they were really honest about what these tools are, I genuinely think most people were like, this is insane. And Phil, we were discussing before we started this podcast just how even our talking points right now, a lot of it, we have edited it and found the research and put it together and whatever using these AI tools. AI is even a misnomer. Now, I think there's some teams, like for example, within Apple, even within OpenAI and other places, that are working on different AI models that are not transformer models. And the idea is we've pretty much reached the limit of what these transformer models for LLMs can do. Yes, there can be a little bit of improvements in terms of air quotes, the reasoning and so on and so on. But, it's pretty much as good as it's going to get with minor improvements along the way. For us to achieve artificial general intelligence, we need to use a different model, which they're building from the ground up, which is not necessarily prediction or text prediction. So I'll be keen to see how those things work and whatever other models exist out there that they're working on. But for large language models, GPT-5 is impressive as heck. And I wouldn't be surprised that the next iteration of Gemini and the next iteration of Perplexity and all of that will take some of the learnings that came through from GPT-5 and integrate them, and they're just going to be dope as well.
Yeah. I think to go back to the original question from the Patreon group about which one is better, it all depends on what your use case is. So as Dan highlighted, historically, image generation, OpenAI has always been better, without a shadow of a doubt. Video,
except when Google first launched. But anyway, that's irrelevant. Sorry, go ahead.
Google VO and OpenAI Sora models, they seem to be a bit better, but I don't use them because I have a need to use them. And I also try to be a little ethical with how I use AI. I don't try just like burn tokens and burn the rainforest just for the fun of it anymore. I try and just build systems that make me more functional, make me more productive. As Dan also mentioned, I'm so ingrained into the Google ecosystem with work, it just makes more sense for me to use Google system. And sometimes I compare and contrast. And for the work that I'm doing, I don't really see a difference. The other difference is I've learned that, and the way I work is I have such detailed inputs for the requests or the plugins that I put towards these models. There's less opportunity for them to, as they say, which is part of the anthropomization, hallucinate. Because I'm giving them very clear controls, I'm getting clear prompting, clear frameworks, clear methodology. So it's kind of locked into, there's only a few ways you can give me a response. And there's a few differences here and there, but for the most part, it's pretty much the same. And as Dan mentioned, they are very impressive. And I had an example of this yesterday. So many years ago, when the African Hip Hop blog went down, we had a database of 6,000 email addresses that we lost. And the only place I had a backup of this database it wasn't even a CSV file. It was just a string of email addresses in a text file. And I was trying to figure out how to convert this into a formatted CSV file. And it took me having to get Eddie, our homie Eddie, who's Martinez, who's a coder.
Oh, yeah. Eddie actually texted me today. Wild.
He texted me too. Yeah, he had. It seems like whenever he thinks of you, thinks of me. What a bastard.
Eddie's a Mexican who lives in, where is he, in LA?
Now let's not give out away his location. But yeah,
that's funny because why are we friends with these people? How did that happen?
So
it's funny.
And Eddie's a coder, and he literally had to help create a custom Python script to help me convert this list of email addresses into a CSV format. And even then there were errors, right? And then yesterday I came across another list of clients from a previous time. And then this list was 1,000 people. Same format. I literally just put that into Gemini. I told it, create me a spreadsheet. These are the columns that it needs to represent. And in 2 minutes, I had it. So what took me 2 weeks a few years ago took me 2 minutes today. And that's when I was like, you know what? This is incredible. This is incredible. And then from that, I was able to build an infographic in WebKit that took me 10 minutes. It normally would have taken me an hour to like design it in Figma and then put it in Photoshop and then all that. It literally took me 10 minutes. That's where I'm like, this is where I see the value. This is where it is. And this is where I see the ethical use for it. I'm not going to be using this to write posts. What I do use it for as well is I've got like certain things that I look out for. I'll read news or I'll read highlights, and it'll just highlight points that it thinks are of interest to me. And what I've been doing is I'll blind read. So I'll read, make my notes, and then I'll compare my notes to this. And I was doing that just to train the model. And then now that I've trained it, I then use that just to help with my notes, because I'm also now trying to keep more meticulous notes for my second brain. And I just feed like every article I read, notes that I take, I just save them to a file and then I ingest them into Notebook LM. And then every month in Notebook LM just sends me a detailed report of all the news I've read and compare that news to what I read before. And now I'm more educated, I'm more knowledgeable. I feel like I now know more. I have active data as opposed to like just like ingesting information, which sometimes you don't recall, sometimes you do. But now now I've got actionable stuff, and these notes I can go back to refer back to when I need to write something or send something to a client or do an analysis or something like that. So there's ways to use it. All I'll say is, for the most part, they're pretty much close to each other.
Yeah.
Some have advantages over the other. Like we said, OpenAI is going to be better with image manipulation. You seem to get a longer memory with Gemini. Well, I was getting 1 million tokens per conversation. I believe ChatGPT 5 is also now I think it's at 2 million now, maybe.
I mean, it's basically going to be a race, right? They'll essentially link up with each other, I think.
Yeah. What I will say is, and I've also just had to be smart about it, is like, it doesn't make sense for me to be paying for multiple AI tools.
Yeah.
I wish I could. It doesn't. Like, the one that's in my ecosystem is what I use.
Oh, by the way, when I say I have 2 paid, it's because I use Gemini and my wife uses OpenAI. So that's why I have access to 2 paid ones. Otherwise, people would think I'm just wasting money. I'm not.
Yeah. So figure out what works for you. There's a lot of other tools. And then I recently came across like a whole new subset of AI tools that actually use these models that are way cheaper. Dan, do you know of Grok? But not the Twitter Grok. There's another Grok with a Q.
No.
It's an agent platform. So like you can literally build like AI agents using this platform.
Mm-hmm.
And for every 1,000 calls it makes, it cost you $1.
Oh. Sorry, my wife just made some mealy ribs. Look, huh? It's she sees things trending on the socials, so ribs made out of mealies.
Maguire.
with the rib sauce. This is delicious.
She made maguire.
Yo, this is delicious.
She made maguire with ribs. I'm confused.
Did you use the expensive mayonnaise? Can't be using expensive mayonnaise on it.
Is she also using that QP?
Yo, this is lit. Before I started recording, okay, sorry, distraction. I apologize to the listeners. Before we started recording, Taz asked me, have you seen this trend? It's been all over my timeline. And then she showed me someone making corn ribs. I was like, this sounds like the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. And I have not seen it. And she's like, I'm going to go make it. So now I'm tasting it. I'm like, yo, this is delicious. I mean, it's basically maguire, but, it's good.
Okay. Nah, just salad. All right. Well, Dan, I'm gonna have to head out soon. So let's see what else we got on the docket before it's time to
real quick,
say goodbye.
I didn't write it down, but I think the major thing I want to talk about real quick, and it's in the sports direction, is we've resurrected the Fantasy Premier League. We have a mini league going. We've decided to make it a money game. We will see if we ban Ropa or not. But long story short, how it's going to work is you join the 2BT mini league. The link is currently circulating within the Patreon group. But if you're not in the Patreon group, no problem. We'll put it on our socials. I'll make sure to remember to do that tonight so that when you hear the next episode, it will be available on the socials. You can join the Two Broke Twimbos mini league for Fantasy Premier League. If you would like to join the money game, make a donation through twobroketumbos.com/donate.
I think we'll have to put it somewhere else. Remember, yeah. Let me figure out what to do.
We have a year to figure it out, Phil. So it's okay. So, well, not a year. We have like 10 months to figure it out. So it's okay. I was trying to think of the best way to do it. And I was like, I don't want to hold people's money because what if an emergency happens? It's better if it just exists there in the Patreon. We track it, we pay whatever our expenses are and whatever. But then whenever someone makes a payment into there, I keep a running table. And then if we find a better way of doing it, then we can just go ahead. But you send me the proof of payment and I put you on the table. We have the table running. So look, if you're keen, hit us up if you want to join the money game for the 2BT Fantasy Premier League. And let's take it from there. I'm quite excited. Are you excited about the new season, Phil? You're going to be watching football?
I don't have the bandwidth. I'll watch when I can. I don't have the bandwidth to watch all of them, but I'll watch when I can. But I did notice you did jinx us because Isak still hasn't signed. And now there's a whole holdout because of you. So are you happy? Are you proud of yourself?
I do think that he will eventually. I think he will eventually, but it's the whole idea was how is he going to sign when there's no strikers available, so they don't have anyone to replace him. So it's always going to be difficult. I don't understand why all the clubs were in for him, and Newcastle were willing to sell. I mean, it was going to be difficult, but they understood that he was leaving. He only announced that he wants to leave when Liverpool have bought a striker, Arsenal have bought a striker, everyone's bought a striker now.
No,
Brother.
I think he announced I think behind the scenes, the deal for Liverpool had already been lined up. He was coming to Liverpool and then Newcastle were like, Jack, you can't go. And then they were in public. I think he was always going to Liverpool.
Obviously, I don't know all the behind the scenes, but in terms of what was playing out in the public, and these clubs are all using Mana, Fabrizio and David Ornstein now as part of the chess pawn or the pawns in the chessboard. The general reporting was there's interest in Isak, but Newcastle have made it clear that they're not interested in selling him. And, it seemed like Isak was calm with that. Only after Liverpool bought Ekitike did he then come out and say, I'm leaving. Like, brother, if you had made this announcement literally 3 days earlier, it would have been the most straightforward because Newcastle wanted Ekitike, Liverpool wanted Isak. The story in the media is that they went for Ekitike because Isak wasn't available. Newcastle were like, we want Ekitike, who's probably going to replace Isak. It would have been the most simple, okay, Newcastle gets Ekitike, Liverpool get Isak. We move forward. Everyone is happy. But no. Anyway, I don't know. Long story short, 2BT FPL is live. We'll be putting it on our socials, so make sure to look for it. I think we can.
Yeah. I was going to say there's other stuff that we wanted to talk about, but we will move that to, I think, maybe Saturday mid-morning, our time, we'll have a little WhatsApp chat, and we'll talk about the new Jid album, talk about Ronaldo.
You need to stop. Swift. You need to stop promising these things, Phil, because you promise it every week.
That I can actually do. The other quick things I wanted to touch on: U.S. Embassy pauses all routine visa services in Zimbabwe. Mawan. So some people, I know that like students were able to get some of their visas, but other times, other ones it's tough for other people. So there's that. Then we can also discuss the Live Nation thing, because I actually did a report on this on Live Nation's quarterly reports. And then
it's
all
okay,
the record
Phil,
labels are now licensing.
Phil, it's fine. We're not a news platform. You don't have to mention everything. It's cool.
Yes.
I think at this point, let's call Chucky right now. Okay, now let me be honest with you guys. This was pre-recorded. Just before we started recording, we called Chucky. I'm like, hey, buddy, tell us what happened with Fiesta Fiesta. So this past weekend, there was a ton of stuff that happened. There was Fiesta Fiesta with Shasha and Young Stunna. Nope, Young Stunna didn't show up, and there was a riot. And then there was also the Joe concert, Joe Thomas. There was also Mbare Grills opening a 2-day event featuring Maporisa and Murder and a bunch of other people. So at least we spoke to the organizer of the Fiesta Fiesta concert to explain what happened with Fiesta Fiesta and the riot. So yeah, enjoy that.
Yo,
Mr. Chucknosis.
What's good?
What's good, brother?
I'm all right, man. I'm alive.
Look, it was touch and go. Touch and go for a second there.
Okay.
Thanks for picking up. You're live on the podcast.
Okay.
By saying me saying live is that it's not live, it's recorded, which means it can be edited. So feel comfortable to say whatever you want, and then afterwards, if you feel like Jenny, we're revealing some secrets here, it's okay. We'll take them out.
Yeah.
We'll take them out.
We're live.
Yeah, no, it's recorded. It's recorded. Phil is here. Phil is here as well.
Okay.
What up?
What's up, Phil?
Jack, where? You good, Jackie?
Yeah, no, I'm good.
So, for those of you who don't know, Mr. Chucknosis is the promoter behind several events in Zimbabwe. One of the major ones that he does is Fiesta Fiesta. Now, of course, we're reviewing some of the events that happened this past weekend. And this past weekend, we had Fiesta Fiesta on the Friday, I believe.
Saturday.
On the Saturday this past weekend with Shasha and Young Stunna. Unfortunately, Young Stunna was a no-show, and I think it led to problems. Can you tell us what happened, my guy?
So Young Stunna's manager said that his wife is in labor.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, and we went back and forth for a bit. We fought for a bit. Oh, not physical fight, but we had a very tense, heated argument for a bit, going back and forth. That I don't think that we engaged Young Stunna's wife. We engaged Young Stunna. Yeah, we did engage Young Stunna, not the wife. So if the wife is still alive, she's breathing. I'm sure, as we're speaking right now, a couple of millions of women are in labor as it stands. So I don't think this is something which should prevent him from coming to Zimbabwe. You know, tickets have been sold. We've paid you guys in full for the event itself and the after party, flights, accommodation. I mean, I've spent quite a bit of money putting this show together. So your reason is not valid at all. She's not dead. She's not dead. She's alive. She's breathing. She's giving birth. And
damn,
so
Chucky.
she had the audacity to say, "Oh, it's his first child," and blah blah blah. I was like, "Foot sack," like point blank.
Chucky.
I told her, "Foot sack, you're mad, woman. Like you're." I would love to share the voice note that I sent to her that you are destroying my brand that I've built for the past 10 years. So you understand? Like,
to give some context and probably to explain why Chucky is so angry. You know, when Young Stunna didn't show up, the crowd got violent. It actually became a full-on riot. People had to escape, and I think the stage and the sound equipment was damaged. There were people hurling not just bottles, but like entire chairs and rocks onto the stage. We had some of our team from ZFM that were present, and they were like, "Bruh, we had to escape like under fences and through mukotos and whatever because it became a full blown riot." So I understand why you're angry, but I mean,
okay,
Mafaro, Chucky, Mafaro. How can you know what I'm saying?
I was angry. I was angry on Saturday night. The thing is, when we found out he wasn't coming, it was too late to cancel the show.
Yeah.
It was way too late because Shasha was already on her way with some local artists that were paid. I mean, I spent quite a bit on this particular fiesta because it was our 8th anniversary.
Yeah.
Which we decided to partner with ZFM in your birthday month also. So we went the extra mile. You know what I'm saying? With the extra mile. And Young Stunna had not been to Zim in I think 4 years. So the excitement was there. You know, not just for Fiesta folks, but also for me. I mean, I love Young Stunna. I love his music, his stage energy, everything. I was waiting to see him. So the disappointment hit me hard. The fact that I was going to lose a lot of money. Fans are going to be disappointed. This is a celebration of 2 big brands. I mean, ZFM and Fiesta birthday party. And because your wife is in labor, I don't know if you're just giving birth to an elephant or some prehistoric creature that he couldn't leave. He could have been in Zimbabwe in the space of 5-6 hours, and no one would have known that he had left South Africa. I mean, South Africa is not close to Zimbabwe. It's 1 hour, 30 minutes by air.
And he would have been back the next day.
Yes. You know, you arrive at 8 o'clock, go on stage. We could have even we could have chartered a plane for you the next day early to go back. That's how far the team was willing to go. But she was just not budging. She's like, let me speak to talent. And I was like, who the hell is talent? And she's like, oh, that's Young Stunna. I'm like, oh, that's his name? I didn't know his name was talent, you know? There's a bit of humor in all the chaos. And then she comes back after about an hour, like, he's not budging. I'm like, wait a minute, who's managing who here? You're the manager, right? How is it that your artist can tell you that he can budge? Does he understand the implications on his brand and my brand?
Yeah.
Clearly she didn't really understand the kind of consequences that this was going to produce, and I let it go. You know, I let it go, and then I told my wife, brace yourself. Some things are going to pop off. And I remember speaking to your Kaya, the events lady.
Yeah.
From ZFM. Late in the evening, I was like, yeah, something's going to pop off. I didn't really want to tell her. Then before that, I told her, like, yeah, when Shasha is done performing, the MC is going to announce it. It's too late. We'll just announce it. Hopefully we'll get some DJs to drop some heavy tunes, you know, to try and, you know, dilute the situation a little bit. But, buta, it didn't work. It didn't work. I'm on stage explaining. I dodged about 5 bottles, but the 6th one, I think this guy really wanted to hurt me. You know what I'm saying? Like, he locked in on me like one of those deep-seeking missiles, and he threw that thing, and I saw it in the corner of my eye. That's when I was like, okay, this is my cue to leave the stage.
You actually got hit.
You know? I wasn't hit. None of the bottles hit me. There's one that hit my back as I was getting off stage.
Yeah.
But the main one was targeted for my face, and I saw it coming. That's when I was like, okay, this is my cue to leave the stage. These guys are not going to understand. So when I left the stage, I released security into the crowd so that they're trying to divert their attention a little bit. All of this lasted for about 2 minutes, and it was over.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did it end then, or like you continued with the whole thing?
Oh no, we just switched off the screens, we switched off the PA system, we switched off everything because we just didn't want to incur more damages. And I was like, switch off the lights. You know, the moment the lights go off, people will move. You know what I'm saying? Because
Phil, can you hear that? We got the I don't think it's anywhere. I just quickly Googled it. I don't think it's anywhere. The only explanation that we have so far is that his team said they have a family emergency, but we know the real reason.
Well, that is the real reason. the wife was giving birth, and I still haven't seen any pictures on social media yet. Like, did this child come out? You know what I'm saying? Like, what happened? No, I'm really following up because my legal team is
Chucky
ready
has
to
an
go.
interest in this child. You have to see.
Yeah,
you have to
the
know.
better
Chucky
name
wants to see a
is
birth
Fiesta.
certificate. He's gonna be like, "Yo, where's the birth certificate? Let's confirm this time."
That child's name is Charles. You hear me?
Yes, the better name is Fiesta or something. You know what I'm saying? Because I haven't seen anything on social
I
media.
mean, come on, Chucky.
But you know, Chucky, in the grand scheme of things, look how far you've come. You know, even with law communication acts, I mean, now at least they are not showing up for legitimate reasons. Look how far you've come.
No, but listen, professionally, what she could have told me was from the onset, you know, the first engagement was like, listen, Chuck, we have a problem. You get me? A, B, C, D, blah, blah, blah. I was willing to fly to SA, but it was not going to make sense. I was willing to fly out like around 6, but it was too late. People were already in the show.
The show had already started, yeah.
Yeah, Shasha had already landed. You get me? So there was no way we were going to
look, at that point, canceling was not an option, right? Even if you find out on the day, canceling is not an option.
Even the day before, there's no way to cancel. There's too much at risk.
Even the day before, you can't cancel the day before. But maybe what you could do is get like a last minute act. You know, you'll pay.
We did. We ended up engaging Junior Spraga. You know, he just came. I'm like, how much do you want? He charged me. He came straight up. The moment he got his money, he jumped on stage. You know, like it was like one smooth transaction.
Quick aside, Phil. Junior Spraga is a bad own. Junior Spraga.
Good music.
I didn't really know him, and then I saw him not even that, maybe a couple of months ago. I was like, who is this person? Yo, this dude is lit.
Yeah, and he controlled the crowd because he wanted to perform for an hour, and I'm like, no, we have council permission to open until 10 p.m. So you can only do 20, 30 minutes because there's a whole lineup of artists that we've now engaged to try and calm the situation down a bit, you know. So, but he gave it his best. Another kid called Wave also gave his best, and then there was Maxi Boy, and I mean, Fiesta's a young market, so we just got the right kind of artists to like really control the crowd. But then we thought, you know what? Danny, it was a beautiful day. Why I'm so angry was from people trying to jump over the fence, the queues, everybody came out civilized. It was an amazing day. Everything was running smoothly. You know, there was no issues of violence and all of that. It was the perfect fiesta until until that announcement. People just flipped, and you know, we apologized. I was happy that Young Stunna's team posted around midnight the reason why he couldn't come, and I think people saw that, and then they relaxed a little bit. But the thing is, the damage has been done. I don't think Young Stunna knows the amount of people that love him in Zimbabwe. I don't think he's aware of that, sadly. He's not aware of that. I think he needs new management. You know what I'm saying? That child, I really want to see that child, bro.
Okay.
Isn't this the second time Stunna performed / was supposed to perform in Zimbabwe where bottles were thrown? What happened? Isn't it, because that happened similar in Bulawayo, right?
Yes, it happened in Bulawayo. Yeah. What happened in Bulawayo, to my understanding, was that they didn't do sound checks, so they didn't know that the equipment was working properly. So when they got on stage and they realized that the USB that his DJ had was not reading on the CDJs, that was the problem. But they made it look like it was the problem with the promoter. It wasn't a problem. The sound check is really important when you have an international artist. You're flying all over from another country to another country, and you don't do sound check, and then you have to blame the promoter. No. You know, so he's a little arrogant kid.
Listen, Chuck, we got to hear both sides. So maybe one day we'll call Young Stunna and hear his story. Yeah, let me tell you, you'll probably say something like, you'll say, nah, you know, you guys from Zimbabwe, you know, the problem is you think that, you know, since you're paying in US dollars, you can just dictate whatever you want me to do. What? Yeah.
Yeah, but it is. I'm paying you. The moment you take my money, I'm your boss. That's how life is. If you didn't want to listen to me, they don't take the money in the first place, because you send me a contract, I signed the contract, you charge me a fee, I paid upfront for the full event payment, your flights, everything, or every obligation of the contract, Fiesta met it.
Are they have they indicated that they'll pay you back?
Yes. You see, what happened is that I gave them an ultimatum which ended today, which was really simple. I'm like, listen, Young Stunna, maybe your wife was in labor for real. Maybe. Let's say maybe she was. So the ultimatum is, I need to save my brand, which is Fiesta. You need to save your face in Zimbabwe, which is Young Stunna, because we love your music. And we still want you to come and perform. So I need a video apology from you guys.
Yeah.
I need a sincere video apology, apologizing to the people of Zimbabwe and the fans of Fiesta. This allows you to come back to Zimbabwe freely next time without an arrest warrant or a court case waiting for you. Because, listen, at the end of the day, I'm one of those people, if you say sorry, life goes on. If you're genuine and sincere enough, life goes on. And I told you, I really need that video because it's important. Because some people will be thinking maybe Fiesta didn't pay them. You know what I mean? There's a lot of versions going out there. And I'm like, I really need that video for you to come out and say, we are sorry, family obligations, blah, 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 blah. We are working with the promoter in Zimbabwe. We'll give you another date, something to cushion this issue. Because if not, my legal team they're on steroids right now. They're ready, and we don't want to do that. It happened with Maporisa and Kabza, Daliwonga. The funny thing is, Young Stunna's managers, Maporisa and Kabza and Daliwonga's manager. Ironic, huh?
I hinted at it earlier. I didn't want to get too deep into the Guan, but we know the Guan. We know the Guan.
Yeah, and they did that to the Vic Falls Carnival people, and they got arrested and out of court settlements. I don't have the energy for that.
But you got the video?
No, I'm waiting for it. It was supposed to have landed in the afternoon, but she's like, "Oh, we're busy with the Scorpion Kings tour," and I'm like, "So you don't have 5 seconds, or even just to say, hey, Zimbabwe, sorry I couldn't make it, blah blah blah." It's just not important to you right now. That's how arrogant he and her manager are. Anyway, we'll wait and see. Hopefully, maybe over the weekend it will come. If not, then my legal team will engage them, and then we'll see how that pans out.
But even if you get that video, you must still get your money back.
No, definitely. That video is just to cushion, people a little bit, just give them the confidence that we did do our part. But at the end of the day, there's certain payments that they need to make: the flights, the accommodation, the performance fee. There's certain payments that they need to make. So obviously, I'm not going to get everything back.
Okanda, we also had paid Danny to organize to organize an interview. Like a few 40,000 rand that was supposed to go to Danny. 60,000 rand. And then we had booked a place on Two Broke Twimbos to just make sure there's an appearance. So we need all those, good stuff.
Yeah.
All good, Chucky. Thanks for clearing things up. Thanks for letting us know what happened.
No problem. Anytime.
Yeah.
Right.
My one.
We're going to call some people. Maybe next week we'll call people that were at the event, but I'm homebound for the next few weeks as I recover financially. It's a bad thing when you're in debt to be out in the streets. It sends a wrong message.
No, Phil, the beauty is people will just assume that Argubasa saka is pressure.
Okay.
So All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you very much for tuning in to another episode of Two Broke Twimbos. Hey, if you would like to be part of the Fantasy Premier League, twobroketwimbos.com/donate, pay your $50, send me whichever way, whether via DM or if you're in the Patreon group through the existing methods, then I'll make sure that your name is in the running list. At the end of it, how it's going to work is 50% of the entire pot goes to the winner, 30% goes to number 2, 20% goes to number 3. Otherwise, if you'd like to support the podcast in other ways,
there should be admin fees. I'm gonna admin fee.
Yeah, minus admin fees. No, not personal admin fees. I mean platform fees. So whatever.
No. As there was.
No. This is not a profit. This is not a profit making venture, Phil. This is fun and games. So we are the only fees that will take up the Patreon fees and any bank charges. Apart from that. 50% of the pot, 30% of the pot, and 20% of the pot. How about the fun? Is going to have 5%? We'll do a vote on. No, we'll do the full money. But yeah, if you'd like to support in other ways, twobroketwimbos.com/donate, become a Patreon member where you can be part of the dynamic conversations that happen in there. You can also suggest some of the things that we would like to talk about on the podcast and just be part of a really cool community. I love the community there in the Patreon group. There's people who know stuff. The other day, someone said, hey, I'm looking for someone to help me send money to Zim. No, don't worry, I found someone within the community. I was like, you know what, we should be charging. I mean, I guess we are kind of charging, but we should also be charging for the perks and the benefits of having access to people who do stuff. You know what I'm saying? But it's cool to be in that community. twobroketwimbos.com/donate. On that note, we'll catch you in the next one.
We out.